Hello everyone. Pantlaza Sun Favored Top 16, a cEDH event. Not just any cEDH event, the biggest cEDH event ever. And I've never seen this list before, so we're going to be experiencing this together. Okay, boop. Pant Loser. You know, first things first, good naming sense, good deck name, so you know, already got some points there. And for anyone who wants to just look by yourself, the deck list over here is going to be in the description below, so you know, go do that. But it's more fun to do it together, right? So let's go look. Let's see what this commander does. So whenever ETBs or another dinosaur ETBs under your control, you may discover X, where X is a creature's toughness, does once per turn. Okay, just like, you know, calling some shots here. Okay, some taking some wild guesses, some dino guesses. Okay, this deck is like a stacks deck, maybe a rule of law deck. I don't know, but I think it's like stacks, and then it's here to like cheat in dinos for you to like gain tempo in the sense that like your 5 mana dinosaur has returned with like 12 mana's worth of permanence. So dorks. Or some dorks, a lot of rocks. We're cheating Pantlaza, definitely Natalia here. Maybe some blink spells because it tracks like the ETB, and then some stacks. Is there a combo? Maybe there's like an infinite blinking Natalia. All right, let's call our shots there. All right, bets are over, bets are closed. Time to look at the list. Minsc and Boo and Vivien, nice. So Minsc and Boo is just like really good. I don't know. Mid-range card. I know a lot of people who play like Growless or even like the teamer like Malcolm Tana Pirates list plays this sometimes. In general, just like being able to fling the hamster and draw cards and deal damage is like quite powerful. And also just being able to get like, you know, Boo be like a threat is like kind of good in like a stack style position. It's just really like the removal aspect, or it's just like the damage aspect and the draw, which is like very, very good. So I'm not like a huge fan of this card, but it makes sense. Vivien, Monsters Advocate, this one, I haven't seen this in a while. So Vivien, Monsters Advocate is a card I generally see like back in the day in like Time decks or like green creature based decks. I mean, obviously it's green. But the idea is you can -2 and then like when you play a creature spell, find the other creature and then like combo off that way. And then also you're able to cast creature cards off the top. It's quite good. And, you know, sort of you can make a 3/3 and give it like reach to like block flyers, protect your Vivien, or give it vigilance to like pressure life totals. So like a lot of flexibility, but being able to just simply like find your A+B or find a creature off of like whatever you're casting is very good. And I assume like here, because we're casting something as big as Pantlaza, you're able to like find a really good, like really big card to put it onto the battlefield. I guess we could talk about Invasion Ikoria. This is a good fetch. I really like Invasion, and also you could flip into a dino. Oh, actually this matters because it flips for Pantlaza and you get like an 8/8. It's also important to note that when you flip a battle, it's a cast, so if an opponent has like a Drannith Magistrate, then like it doesn't work. Or if there's like a rule of law, you can't. Well, you could do that if you cast no other spells by that turn. Just something good to note. I really like Invasion of Gobakhan. I think in like stacks decks, I think Gobakhan's like very powerful, but maybe it doesn't fit here. Also, because they're playing dinos, I assume like flipping these is like actually kind of real. Okay, Archivist of Oghma, I think is quite good because basically you just draw a lot of cards off your opponents and everyone's always like fetching fetch lands. So it's actually not that bad. I just put this back into my Timnit Crom list. I think. No, I cut it. But anyways, good card. Dorks. Even Mind Sensor. I used to love this card until Bowmaster came around. Well, Bowmaster will like really hose everything here. But yeah, like this is just good way to hate on fetching because we don't have Op Agent, so it's a good little like stopper. Birds makes sense. We have Boromir. Boromir is like popular with T&K right now. Because it basically does like the Lavinia effect, except like Boromir doesn't die to like a red blast. So quite good. And also I think here it does matter that you can sacrifice and your creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. Because your creature, like you kind of want your creatures to stick around. The only problem with this effect is like most board wipes or like removal you care about is like exile or bounce. Very few actually destroy. So like there's Dam and maybe like Fire Covenant. So like 2 cards that, you know, isn't that unpopular, but I think you're more concerned about like Swords to Plowshares or like a Psych Rift or a Toxic Deluge. Like there's a lot of stuff that will just clean up your board. So the sacrifice effect is not quite as good. I think also Boromir is like very good with like Timna. It's like a Timna beater, 3/3 vigilance, blocks well, attacks semi well. So here, kind of playing a role of just like simply stacks piece to stop interaction and like free rocks. Don't know if I will keep this actually, but maybe important. Dauntless Dismantler, this is extremely good. I think every white deck should be playing this. Well, maybe. I think a lot of decks should be playing this Dauntless Dismantler because the artifacts entering ETB tapped like actually does deny your opponent of a lot of like their timing of when they want to do things. So even if they like dockside for a lot, they can't use those treasures that same turn. Because like giving time, like a round, like a full round for cEDH, just like so much stuff happens. So losing the ability to like take that win when you want to is like very, very strong. This makes sense, especially, you know, we don't want our dinos countered. Destiny Spinner is very good. I think Destiny Spinner should be played in like most green decks. I recommended Alan of Mental Misplay be playing this in Italy because like we did like a coaching session you could find somewhere, I think, where we talked about like how do you lose as a Tali? You lose as a Tali when your opponents either remove a Tali or counterspell your Atali or your food chain, right? So knowing that those are like kind of our main ways to lose, Destiny Spinner proactively addresses both of them by allowing you to stick your Atali so that you can like, you know, go face and do that plan and also resolve your food chain. I think there might be other kind of enchantments that matter, I think, maybe in that deck, or like, you know, you can play your Team or Sabertooth in your dockside and like Destiny Spinner protects all of it, right? If our weakness is to like blue decks, this stops all of that. Like, sure, Atali can't answer like things on the stack the same way like most blue decks can. You know, this deck can't do that either, but you're playing like ways to disrupt them and then ways to protect your win. So I assume, you know, that I see a dual caster here. This could be a Twin Flame. You know, you do have some combos in here, and I think Destiny Spinner is just like good. We don't have to go over this. Drannith is good. I'm actually like, I just had a chat about how Drannith is like not good. Drannith is fine. Like Drannith's actually very good. All right, I'll take that back. However, at like the apex, like the peak of cEDH, right? When we're playing Drannith Magistrate, we're thinking about the decks we care about. Like Kinnan, like a lot of the good decks don't really care if their commander like isn't around because their deck is built to like play the game, right? So Drannith, what will happen with Drannith is like the best time is to play like turn 1, turn 2, right? And that's not your best play. Like that's a very good play, but that's not like the mulligan that you want, right? So you have to be like early in turn order, play it very early in your opening hand to stop the Kinnan, to like prevent those like, you know, commander centric decks. But then like if you give them time, they will break out easily. Like, you know, you're not shocking anyone with like a Drannith Magistrate. Everyone's like ready to play this stuff, right? So I've been thinking about how to like fight Kinnan in my own decks and things like that. And just like, I think on board, like stacks pieces or hate pieces like this don't really punish those decks well because it gives them time to formulate a game plan to, you know, break out of it, right? Versus like if you contain and priest them, you deny them like at least the information and ability to plan around it, right? There's a no on Drannith. I like this. Dryad Militant. I used to play this. I used to try this in like some decks. Just like somewhat good hate against graveyard based decks, mainly Breach. Like that's the only deck you care about. Oh, so okay, here's the thing. Drannith Magistrate is good against Breach, right? So that is like another reason why you would want to play it. For our blue decks, for like T and K and stuff like that, this is like good enough to play, obviously, but I think there's like a thought that like maybe we don't need to play this, we can play something else, right? More interaction or something. And because we have like such a good interaction suite that like we don't need a hate piece specifically for Breach. For a stack where your interaction is more limited, I think it makes sense. Just to like, you know, Drannith plus Dauntless makes it a little harder for your opponent to like break out, right? And you're trying to go in with dinos. So something I noticed or interesting is there's no dinos here. So I was very wrong. I can see like the combo here. Didn't expect the Emil Dockside, the classic Emil Dockside. I did say Infinite Blink, didn't I? I did. So, you know, still correct. 100%. Okay, let's get back to this thing. Elvish Spirit Guide, yep, just to power our things. Emil plus Dockside, infinite mana. I assume we have Temur Sabertooth then. Endurance makes sense to hate on the, you know, Thassa's Oracle, shuffle their graveyard back in so they don't win, and also Breach again. Sentinel is staple. Eternal Witness, interesting. It's like a fine card. Felidar Guardian, interesting. I guess like it's good because you can like blink your commander to discover again, and like go up tempo that way. Like if you think about it, right? It is why I like playing Ephemerate in like a lot of my cEDH decks, is that like the card itself is not very good, but the mana advantage that you gain from cards like this, depending on what the synergy is like quite massive. So in this scenario, for Felidar Guardian, I assume there's like a Kiki Jiki or something, some sort of combo here for you to like also use as a combo piece. But basically, like if you resolve a Pantlaza here, which is a 5-mana effect plus, you know, another discover for 5, so it's 10 mana's worth of mana like investment right to your board. If you Felidar Guardian, you basically get a 4-mana creature and then another 5-mana spell, right? So for 4 mana, you're doing very well, which is kind of like why I had a video on Atali, like why Atali is so powerful, because like even though the mana value of Atali is like very high, the return on spells you get actually like makes sense. Like you have to get there, but if you get there, it gets like very good. Interesting that I don't see an Atali, but maybe you don't need it because you already have Emil Dockside. So, you know, getting too cute with the dinos. Grand Abolition makes sense. Impure Recruiter, yep. Jaxus, interesting. So you can use Jaxus to discard a card, copy a Pantlaza, and discover another spell. So, I don't think this deck can play Rule of Laws. I mean, if it did play Rule of Laws, then we would have seen an Eidolon of the Rhetoric, I think. So I don't think Rule of Laws are very good. Like I played a Rule of Laws, and I also like promoted Rule of Law a lot in the past like years. But I think in general, like limiting yourself to one spell per turn, it's just like not a game-winning way to like play the game. I think like you need to like double spell at least to like stay ahead of the game. So if you have ways to like double spell and limit your opponent's spell casting without limiting yourself, I think it's the way to go. So that's Rule of Law. Karmic Guide, Kiki Jiki, so there's like a pile here. So does that mean there's a Goblin Bombardment? Does it need it? Man, I haven't like done these lines in so long. But that explains why there's a Vivien. So I assume it's like a shared summons too. Maybe an Eldritch Evolution. Or maybe a Birthing Pod. Maybe it's like a pod line. Yeah. Could still make sense. Another kind of like silence effect, like Grand Abolisher. Manglehorn's good. Manglehorn's super annoying. So same thing as like Dauntless, except, you know, you can also pop an artifact. So quite good. Ragavan. Yep. Ranger Captain, Silence, find a thing. Whenever an opponent activates ability, you draw a card. I think it's because it's a dino that it like makes it in. I think in normal instances you can't really play this card. Sanctum Weaver. Sanctum Weaver, interesting. I don't know why you would play this over Bloom Tender. I guess because Bloom Tender dies to Bowmaster, and I assume there's like enough enchantments like Destiny Spinner, and maybe like there's Utopia Sprawls and stuff, that your Sanctum Weaver is like gonna do good. I think Bloom Tender might be like a little better, but we'll see like the whole list. Yep, Simian Spirit Guide, Squee for the food chain. Vexing Structure is very good because, you know, our game plan is that we can't really answer opponents well in the stack, so we have to do everything we can to like slow them down and like deny them of their ability to win, and then find like a good window for ourselves. Which is why like uncounterability is like kind of massive. Tinder Walls is more rituals and Temur Sabertooth. There it is. To combo for infinite mana with Dockside. I cannot read this card. Eldritch Evolution. Oh, I said so. Yeah, Eldritch Evolution for like the useful creatures. Finale is good. You can infinite mana Finale and also just like use it to find the creatures because we are playing a creature centric like combo deck. Just like all the creature tutors, you know, make sense, especially if they come into play. It's just good. Also, like these kind of cards are really good at fainting into the Silence effect. I think that's like a really important part. Like sometimes, you know, your opponents might be holding a Source of Plowshares and they're like acting all chill, like you cast a Finale and they're like, sure, go ahead. And you Finale for 3, maybe even 4, like you overpay, right? Does Finale 6 or less, right? Yeah. And then they're suspecting the Temur Sabertooth. But instead what happens is you actually found Grand Abolisher and they're like, oh, whoopsie. Same thing for Eldritch Evolution. So like keep that in mind. You can feint this. Good players already know this, but like, you know, if you think you can abuse it, if extra mana, might as well like, you know, let's not leave any value on the table there, right? Like let's just try and do a little bluff and, you know, see if they'll fall for it. They're good. Gamble, interesting. I don't know if Gamble's very good here, but like, you know, we're in Naya, so like it's good enough. Heat Shimmer with our dual caster mage, Savine's Wreck. Okay, interesting. I mean, with a Gamble, there's no way there's a breach line in here. Savine's Wreck. Maybe it's just to like bring back your stuff. Shatter Skull Smashing is good to clean up some creatures. I wonder if there's like a better card to play than Shatter Skull Smashing. Every time I've tried to play this, it hasn't been very good for me. But maybe it's good here. And I don't know, you make infinite mana and pop someone. You can make infinite mana, you win the game, so I don't think it matters. Yep. Chord, crop rotation for that. Gaia's Cradle, E-Call, Enlightened Tutor, Get Lost. Interesting. Get Lost I think is good because you can, it's like flexible that it can target creature enchantment, which is like basically the two important things, hitting Rhystic Studies and also just like problematic creatures from your opponents. And then the map tokens are like fine, you know. You can like make your creatures bigger. Is that Grape Shot? No, that's Bolt. Yeah, I think that's Bolt. Bolt's good. These are good cards. Destroys Rhystics, destroys Kinnins, just like some of the best cards you should be playing. Like if you're playing cEDH, you just bring them. Like it, worst case scenario, you pop a Crom, right? It just trades up so well. Like all the targets it hits, it's just like the best targets in the game. You could you can use it also, it's not theoretical. You do use it to protect your spells and counter like blue spells. I don't think blue players will fall for like, you know, a red blast. It's pretty telegraphed, but you know, sometimes they gotta make you have it and then you'll have it and they're like, oh dang, they got the Temur Sabertooth win. Silence, yep. Source of Plowshares, Whirly Tutor, and a Veil of Summer. I wonder if you want an Orm's Chant in here. Interesting. Maybe. No, Orm's Chant targets one player. So like Revel in Silence, I think. Birthing Pod, I was right. Cloudstone Curio, I did not call that one. So that makes sense. You know, Dockside, Infinite Treasures, then like loop Dockside and also Pantlaza together. It's quite cool cast your whole deck. This is Naya Itali, which is cool. Or like it's like Rocco, Dino Rocco. Oh, that's a good name, Dino Rocco. Petal, yeah, mana. The one ring that you can't read, but I recognize it, so that's cool. These cards are like illegible. Like if I didn't know what it was, I would be like, the She-Hulk, the Oak Rug Bug. All right, the bit's over. I already lost half of you already. Blind Obedience, great card. You should be playing Blind Obedience. Same reason why Dauntless is good. Blind Obedience is generally a good card, and also the Extort does matter. I don't think as much here, but it might. So Blind Obedience is good. Also, you should be playing this art because whenever I see this on the other opponent's like side, I think this is Arcane Signet. There's an Arcane Signet from like a commander set or whatever that has like blue wispy stuff, and I always think it's Arcane Signet, but it's not. So I play into it and forget, and then get hosed. So you know, if you want to min max, play Warhammer Blind Obedience so other dummies like me will see it and be like, oh, I can Dockside. I can dockside into that Blind Obedience and that 2-mana white creature. You know, my treasures are fine. Yep, Carbon makes sense. Food Chain is our win con. Smothering Tithe, nice. Just make mana. Survival. I did not expect to see a Survival, but I should have because it's a good creature finder. I think more decks should be playing Survival. But the thing about Survival in general is that you need like a high density of creatures to make Survival very good, right? So back in the day, like in the olden boomer days, survival decks like, you know, are great because you can, those like Timna Thrasios whatever decks have like bajillion dorks, right? Because you're like medium green and you're like playing all the medium cards, so you're like dorking it out, and then like later in the game you draw like a dork and you're like, can't use this. Oh wow, I can just pitch it and find myself like another medium card. So something to consider is that if you have like 34 creatures, which isn't, you know, nothing, it's actually quite a good amount. After you play your dorks, you know, what are you pitching, right? Maybe you're pitching a Dryad Militant. Maybe your only card in hand might be an Emil, right? So you can't use that Survival. Or your only hand card is like Emil and Grand Abolisher, and you're trying to find the dockside, so you have to like pitch the Abolisher, right? So there are times where Survival is not good. So if you're playing Survival, just keep that in mind, that creatures do come at a premium if that's a plan you're playing towards. So maybe don't jam that dork. That should be a catchphrase. Maybe don't jam that dork. Maybe don't jam that dork. Okay. Sylvan Library. Yep, fine. Draw cards. Touch the Spirit Realm. This is a very good card. I think this is like, everyone should be playing Touch the Spirit Realm. My friend Nicole has been playing this in Tivit, and it's like every time she casts it, it's like incredible. Use it to protect her own Tivit. Use it to get back a Wish Claw that you gave to someone. Here we're like using it to discover stuff and also like blink stuff to get another ETB. So not bad. And I said Wild Growth, right? I said some, you know, green enchantment. So no, I called that one out too. You have 8 enchantments and the Sanctum Weaver. I think 10, right? Because including the Destiny Spinner, the thing. I don't think this deck should be playing Sanctum Weaver. Unless I'm missing something. Yeah, I think Bloom Tender. I think you just accept the fact that sometimes you get blown out by a Bowmaster and just get that mana off of Bloom Tender. Like, I just think you sometimes have to like, you respect the cards in a meta, but also you just have to play like the good cards and understand that maybe 15% of the time you're gonna get blown out and the other time is a good card. Okay, that's my rant on Bloom Tender. 26 lands, 27 include MDFC. I can't complain because I also play 27 now, so. Emergent Zone, yep. Jetmir's Garden, I like this. I like people playing the Triumphs. I think the Triumphs are good. And I also think like, I think one Triumph is like a sweet spot because like there are times where you just don't use that mana, so that Triumph's good. Also just like being able to cycle that, like you're trying to reduce the amount of like times you draw lands you don't need to. So just having like an extra draw effect is just good. So I like that. Okay. That's today's deck discovery. I hope you enjoyed. And, you know, this is a sick looking deck. What would I do? Maybe replace some of the cards I said. I don't know if you should play Aven Mind Sensor. I love Aven Mind Sensor, but I don't know if you should be playing it. I haven't played this deck yet, so you know, maybe no Jewel Lotus is correct. I think you should be playing Jewel Lotus. That's one. Play Jewel Lotus, play Shared Summons, and cut that Sanctum Weaver for a Bloom Tender. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you all next time. Oh, wait. There's another really cool deck. There's another really cool deck that we'll find. There's another really cool deck in here that I want to go over. So we'll go over that next time. It is not this Tamashii list. It is this card I've never seen before.